short. Shotti called today. Shotti said, yo, blah, blah. So I tell him, I'm like, yo, Shotti, I'm not a part of no narrative because I got 6ix9ine and Whack in a room. I'm not trying to get no narrative going on. By the way,
I'm supporting this shit. This is a story, came from my life, and I'm just recording this shit.
He said, he said, yo, and I've talked to Shotti many times, like, even while I was in prison. He said, I know I ain't talked to you in a little while, but he said, you really out here pushing this narrative right now, man? So I said, oh, what are you talking about? He said, he's like, I see what you're doing with your friend. Obviously, and by the way, I don't shout it. 6ix9ine my friend. But I stopped him. I said, whoa, Shotti. It's my homie, but they ain't no concerted or like type of effort to push no narrative. He's like, yo, yeah, man, y'all trying to change the narrative. And I'm like, yo, Shotti, you could speak at any time. Now, let me just say this off top, chat. And this is where the chat niggas is going to reign. I said, Shotti, we talked a long time ago. And I won't get into some of these details. Me and Shotti talked multiple times. And Shotti, I remember Shotti said, ask me anything. And I asked him a bunch of stuff. And Shotti told me some stuff. And I said, damn. I said, I don't feel like I'm in the middle of 6ix9ine and Shotti. But it gets me to realize which person's what. And I went back to 6ix9ine and I told him, I said, I remember I was in a ShopRite parking lot. I had people in my car and I walked out of the car and I had no speakerphone. I said to 6ix9ine, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Because I could tell 6ix9ine could tell that maybe I didn't believe everything he was saying, but I was like, he said, ask me what you want to ask me. And I said, yo, I talked to Shotti. He said, I know you told me you talked to Shotti. I said, he told me certain shit that, I don't know, maybe your story look funny. And I'm going to be honest with you. And I don't know if you learned this from me, pause. But 6ix9ine is one of them niggas, he'll expose himself before you expose him. Actually makes that, whatever, chat, learn this lesson. It makes you look more truthful, too. Shotti told me some really, and I don't want to get too much into it, but he told me some really serious shit about 6ix9ine. And I was like, damn, if this is true, wow, Shotti might just be telling the truth. 6ix9ine might have lied about this and third. I talked to 6ix9ine, and I was dancing around it a little bit. And 6ix9ine looked at me and said, not only do I know you when you got some shit, but you don't want to say it more than you do, I'm down to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. He said, yo, I'm going to tell you what Shotti probably told you. And he told me the exact same thing. These are things you never heard on the internet. And that's why I'm positioned as that. And 6ix9ine told me that, and he said, yo, the reason why he's saying this is because he's avoiding the fact that he fucked Sarah, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm going to be honest, I was losing a little bit. I'm like, maybe 6ix9ine capping about the Sarah thing? Because Shotti told me some shit. 6ix9ine told me the exact same shit. And the only reason I'm going to be honest why I believe 6ix9ine, he exposed himself. He said certain shit about himself that, I'm hoping doesn't, isn't some full shit that comes out even in the media now. You feel me? Like, and I'm like, damn. The mere fact that you could admit that, like, truth be told, if I wasn't having personal conversations with these niggas, just that alone, what he told me, I'm like, nigga could expose you off that shit. And this is no Stitcher shit. This is some other shit, right? I'm like, wow. But he admitted, he said, yo, yeah. If Shotti said that is true. I'm going to be honest. But he still fucked my baby mom. Anyway, long story short. Shotti called today. Shotti said, yo, blah, blah. So I tell him, I'm like, yo, Shotti, I'm not a part of no narrative because I got 6ix9ine and Whack in a room. I'm not trying to get no narrative going on. By the way, me and you talked many times on the phone. You could also speak. So I'll give you out a short version. Shotti is going to talk to me this week on audio. He's in the jail, actually in prison. And he says, Act, I don't got too long on the jail phone, but come with the questions you want. Anything. And I'm going to answer them. I'm going to ask my chat. And by the way, if you watch this anywhere else, if you're not in my chat room or if you're not a chat nigga, I really don't care what you think. I never really care. I'm going to ask my chat niggas, what do you think I should ask Shotti? He's going to come out this week. I'm going to put out a video of me asking Shotti that. Whatever questions. I'll tell you this. Shotti looked at me and said, yo, Act, that interview, that podcast you did on Spotify, man, that shit bullshit. I said, why? He said, Act, fuck what that nigga Whack 100 talking about. That nigga 6ix9ine was no civilian. That nigga, and he's like, yo, listen. He's like, until I seen that nigga name on paperwork, I really didn't think that nigga wasn't gonna hold it down. Basically, he's saying that I never thought that nigga was gonna snitch. That's what Shotti told me. He's like, yo, it told me a lot. I'm trying to remember some of the shit. He's like, yo, all that civilian shit, that is out the window. This nigga knew how we were getting it down. I'm also tell you this verbatim what he said. He said, Act. He said, Act, I don't blame that boy. And he told my 6ix9ine. He said, I don't blame that boy for me sitting in the cell. He said, nigga, I moved around as a gangster. He said, I was moving around that at any time if a nigga played with me, I would have laid a nigga out. Flat out. And I would have done 20 years. He said, every nigga, he said, if you look at that indictment, every nigga that's with me, they were down to do a 20. Which means we were down to take 20 years if a nigga play with us and we got to lay him down straight up. So don't think we in here like just like, oh, this nigga told her. No, nobody even thinking about, that's what he told me. He said, nobody is in here thinking that 6ix9ine is the reason why we're here. It's like, no. We all knew we signed up for some shit. And if we got caught up on some shit, or if we got in a situation where we had to lay a nigga down and we're going to get caught up by the legal system, we going to take them 20 years. He said, Act. He said, I came in this shit with 20 years. I'm going to be that's what he exactly told me. So he's saying, I don't give a, he's like, yo, I just don't like the narrative being shifted that we were taking advantage of this nigga. This nigga came in and he was one of us. And what did I say to him? Because it's not even too long. Because I said to him, I said, Shotti. Because Shotti was like, yo, because he was lumping me with I said, Shotti, you know I ain't know a lot of this shit. I said, Shotti, I'm still finding out some shit that y'all was doing now. And I said, Shotti, you know, some niggas is not a part of that. Like, I wouldn't know this and third. And he said, yo, and so I looked at him, I said, yo, part of what Whack is saying is that y'all niggas knew that nigga wasn't about that shit. That's what Whack is saying. And Shotti said to me, he said, yo, he said, Act, we knew from, he's like, yo, you could never know what a nigga is really about until you're around him. And he's like, we were around that nigga, and that nigga made it seem like he was about that shit. That nigga was a gangster, straight up. Essentially what he's saying is that we didn't co-sign or say this nigga's a blood knowing he about to snitch on us or telling us. We co-sign this nigga as a blood who is in the same shit, who is co-signed some of the same shit, who's encouraging crimes that we into. And yeah, I don't want to speak too much for Shotti, but I told Shotti, I said, yo, let me reposition myself again. I'm a platform. I've talked to you multiple times. And he said this about his, because I was shocked. At the interview, 6ix9ine passed me his phone, and it was Treyway, Shotti's account, that messaged him. But it was Shotti's son. Now, 6ix9ine eventually said that Shotti's son was asking for help. He told me, he said, yo, Ak, you know why my son been messaging 6ix9ine? Because he want to fucking fade. He want to beat that nigga's ass. He's like, yo, that nigga said he's taking fades. Well, my son, who's of age, want to fight him. That's what Shotti told me. I'm going to be very honest. You know me, I'm going to keep it 100 always. And 6ix9ine my nigga, but, bro, like, when it comes to this, bro, this is one of those things that, nigga, I'm not no street nigga. I can't just ride with 6ix9ine or ride with whatever because of whatever. I'm like, yo, I told Shotti, I said, listen, that's why, you've talked to me. You could use the platform. You could say whatever you got to say. 6ix9ine said what he had to say. I would be a certain type of nigga if I say, well, 6ix9ine can say whatever you want to say because it's against you. But if you want to say some shit, you can't say it. So he said, ask me any question. So I'm going to give y'all niggas 15 minutes. Ask me any question. And it's going to be later this week. I'm going to answer it. But he's like, I'm going to just tell you right now. I'm not going for whack. He was upset at whack. He said, I ain't going for whack. Trying to label this nigga as a civilian when this nigga was literally on some gang shit with us. That's what Shotti said. Facts. Keep it on it. And I really didn't know. He said, my son is of age. He said, my son did not message 6ix9ine for help. He messaged because I ain't gonna lie, 6ix9ine passed me his phone while we were in the interview, like on Off the Record podcast. And I looked at it and I said, oh shit, that's Shotti messaging you. I looked at it and the only message I saw, the person said, you in Miami? Now, I ain't know what that means. It could be, yo, you in Miami, you can give me some money. You in Miami, I'm stranded. Shotti told me on the phone, he said, yo, my son was trying to meet up with that nigga to scrap. Straight up. I said, damn, okay. I don't know, bro. I don't know. And by the way, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't even tell 6ix9ine this part that I talked to, because right after I got off the phone with him, I kind of got on stream. And by the way, that's another thing I gotta know. Like, 6ix9ine can't stop me from motherfucking talking to Shotti and putting his side out there. Like, it's not gonna happen. You get me? Like, again, I still believe whatever they had going on, even if 6ix9ine comes out looking flawed as hell, or he comes out looking just like a victim, I'm not gonna look at Shotti and be like, man, fuck that nigga Shotti. Or I ain't gonna look at 6ix9ine and be like, fuck that nigga 6ix9ine. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, my thought on all this gang shit is straight manipulation. They was on some shit trying to manipulate each other, trying to take advantage of each other, and truth be told, shit went left because the police got involved. That's how I feel. That's why, I always tell y'all, if y'all listen to my early videos, don't do crimes with nobody. You don't got to worry about a stench if you ain't do no crime with nobody. So, chat, I'm going to give y'all the opportunity, but only my chat niggas. I want y'all to DM me, spam it in here, what questions you want me to ask for Shotti. And matter of fact, maybe lightly too, because I don't want them to dictate shit. But I might even say to Wack, like, yo, I'm going to talk to Shotti this week, and I'm going to come out with 15 minutes of conversation with him explaining whatever. You feel me? Is there a question y'all got to ask? But other than that, it's going to be the fans. Because I also told Shotti, I said, bro, the reason why you think there's a narrative is you're not talking. Everybody's talking but you. Mel Matrix, when niggas said that Jim Jones was blah, 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 Murder Mel called up Jim Jones. He called him bloody, blah, blah. He agreeing with him. He cussing out Whack. That's co-signing Jim. You got Whack 100 calling Shotti just a little nigga, like a nigga who was flawed from. Hey, I'm not gang, so I don't know what all that's about. But Shotti does know it's because he hasn't talked. That's why this is happening, all right?
Get money, my fetish. Keep going green like it's lettuce. I'm stacking this shit like it's Tetris. I swear I've been restless. Play with the gang and get hectic. This baby Glock you won't expect. Like Nike, I check it. Raw from the party.